We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it! Get there. Yes, he will. The lovely did. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to an overcast and wet University of Limerick. The weather has come in for semi-finals day, and we are in the women's division after mixed division action this morning. Threw up upsets and stories all over the place. Now we will see what happens in the women's division over on the other field. Germany take on the Czech Republic. But here we've got Italy taking on Great Britain. Benji Rees alongside Charlotte Terrasson. And Italy are starting on offense. Arcangeli going aggressive with a break backhand that goes overshot and out of the side of the pitch. An inauspicious start for Italy. Cauldron wipes the disc with her shirt as she brings it in. The rain is easing off slightly, but it will come. I'm sure the wind will be something to think about as well. Zone on the turn here from Italy. Clearly, they had a plan that they'll have talked about probably before the game, how we slow Great Britain down. And so far, Great Britain just doing it in bits and pieces. Cauldron and Jeffrey dishing down the far side and then trying to crash it through the cup. Did Kate Gibson. dismissively slapped to turf. Sorrenti catches a riser. Now down to Bengi. Bengi. Underneath to Irina Scazzieri. Now they're looking to continue the break side. It's a bit behind Arcangeli, but she catches well and converts. Francesca Sorrenti puts Italy on the board with the hold, 1-0 to start this game.
Hold for Italy, who started pretty scary. I mean, that first throw of the semifinals thrown away. GB had a hope here to get a free break from the start, but Italy came back with retrieving the disc after putting a zone defense. Really good choice. I think, as you did say, Benji, that they talked about it because all line automatically setting up a zone. You have to prepare this, and it is absolutely the right choice given the wind. I don't know if you can see the flags flying behind. We've got rain, we've got wind for intense semifinals. You better go with a zone. It's hard to go upfield against the wind, and also the wet Frisbee, hard to catch, more errors. So as many passes as possible is the best tactic to defend.
So we'll see Great Britain's offense for the first time. Do you think the weather today kind of benefits either of these sides in particular, or is it kind of just bad for both of them?
I'd just say GB might be more used to that kind of weather than the Italians. However, both sides have really good techniques and control of the disc up. I don't think they will struggle that much.
Yeah, as you are right to point out that GB may be more used to it, but Italy might have the tactical notes to use it well. As that is a bad start for GB's O-line. Just flubs out of the hands of Naden. And Italy works so quickly on the turn. Gaia Pancotti goes back to Marrero. Now Pancotti again. Coman tries to flash in there. Pancotti going short. Capucci. Pick downfield.
Italians so close to the end zone with a break chance so early in the game.
Resetting back to Pancotti. Camposi overshoots Capucci. GB get it back. Neither side able to take their first break opportunity. Can Italy generate a second? Brew goes back to Yorworth as the Italians continue to show zone. Coman back to Hyde, and now they work it nicely. Some good movement about Great Britain's offense, taking the small spaces, but also happy to spread things around a little bit more. Naden off the chest of Dalman. And you can hear that thunk off the sternum as it pops up, but well gathered again at the second attempt by Casarini. Casarini with the overshot, and Avril Hunter steps through to knock it away. There will be mistakes and errors in this game. It's a question of how well you can recover from them somewhat.
Who's gonna make the less mistakes?
And who's gonna have that mental strength to not let any errors affect them? Dauman dishes back to Yorworth. Again, just floating that up out into space for Hunter. Naden's open on the far side. And now Aiden wants to strike deep. And that has no chance because Maria Sofia Marrero gets another block.
Marrero showing us again her skills in the deep zone. Yesterday during the quarterfinals, she was dangerous there whenever she was in the deep zone. I mean, whenever there was a zone defense, she was the one put there, and we understand why. She covered that space so well, got several blocks in that part of the field. Amazing job by Marrero.
Yeah, she seems to know exactly what Rachel Naden was looking for there. Gaia Pancotti with another break chance for the Italians. Fits it underneath. Casarini has position, and now they look to work a little bit of break side movement. Out, a reacher there for Gaia Pancotti. Of course, a lot of these Italian women will be used to European success, with Shout, of course, one of the dominant sides in the women's club division, of course, from Bologna.
I like how Pancotti extended her reach, but without giving the layout. She just kept her feet to the ground like, I don't need to lay out, I'm fast enough. You're gonna wait if you want to see Pancotti go for the layouts, and it's very spectacular. Every time she does it, just wait for it. Discussion on the field, I don't exactly know what happened because there was a travel called on Pancotti. And apparently some players stopped, and now they want to stop. However, it is true that for a travel call, you do not stop the game.
You are not supposed to stop the game, but once everyone stops, it becomes a stop. It's one of those weird, yeah, it's not supposed to be a stoppage.
Yeah.
But I think anytime everyone stops, it kind of automatically becomes, it's weird.
It is weird because if you stop, it's your own fault. You should not stop and continue playing. This can be very frustrating sometimes. You think there's a call, you stop, and your player just continues playing or scores whatever. Well, too bad for you. This is fair, and it just continues.
Yeah, you need to have the head on the swivel so you know what's going on at all times.
Like in the comments, some people wondering, Capucci back on the field? Wasn't she already playing the mixed semi-final? It is a Capucci, but it is the older sister playing here with the women, trying to qualify as well for finals.
That one down the sideline, jammed through a narrow window, and Hayley Dalman denies it. Yeah, this is Chiara Capucci. The older of the two siblings, but still at only 25, with a long career ahead. Bru's first pass is back to Yorwith. And you can see the edge on that one, but Hyde adjusts well. Bru fakes the aggressive option and comes short instead. Hunter breaks to Coman. Yorwith able to thread that one through to Naden. The Italian zone defense really slowing down Great Britain's offense here. Going to force them to make as many passes as possible in these most inhospitable conditions. Now Yorwith doesn't want Dalman deep, just wary, as you mentioned, of how good Marrero is as that deep defender. Transition comes into match coverage. Thought they could bounce that back a little bit better and take advantage of the poach. Now Hyde has it. Bru comes through. Dalman shooting for the end zone. It's low, but it's scooped and snagged and celebrated by Avril Hunter for one apiece.
That point took a little while, but GB did manage to get the hold after some scary turnovers. 3 on each side. Luckily for them, they retrieved it. 1-1. Big start into this semi-final. Italy putting a big pressure, but not enough yet, just not enough to get a break.
We streamed both of these sides in their quarter-final matches tomorrow. Convincing wins, both of them. Great Britain bested France 15-9 after France surrendered back-to-back losses in the power pools. While Italy, a convincing 15-8 victory over a Switzerland side that generally has a habit of hanging tough, but Italy kind of asserted their dominance on that contest, Charlotte.
Absolutely, they do. Not gonna give up so easily. And we might have a lot of points taking a while given the wind and the rain conditions today for these games. However, on the other pitch, Germany is already leading 3-1 against Czech Republic. That is interesting now.
So Great Britain going with a zone of their own.
Pretty different from the Italian one.
You've got two up front in Ruth Caudron and Heather Gibson. Kate Gibson kind of patrolling a little bit just behind them, alongside Sarah Hills. Amy Funn sails towards the far side, with Wedge and Oldfield kind of switching and passing players off in the deeper space. Italy, to their credit, just taking passes that are there until that one. Arcangeli's just on her heels and run through from Heather Gibson. Her sister Kate picks up. Wedge with the around break. Funn sail, set herself, and it came in and out of the hand. Arcangeli picking up quickly. I'll be able to see the Costa Rica Rimini t-shirt underneath. Tequila Boom Boom, the Rimini women's team.
And back with the zone defense. I mean, obviously it worked before. Use it again against the wind. JB will have struggled to make all this way.
And that one, an ambitious shot, ripped through the center of the pitch. A dangerous option, and Oldfield was beaten to the punch by Simona Stefanelli. And Stefanelli has it in her hands now, going around towards the far side, brought down by Sorrenti. And Sorrenti shooting. Oh, that shot is perfection. Irina Scazzieri for 2-1.
Of course it is perfection. I mean, I've been saying it during the whole game yesterday, but these backhand runs from Sorrenti, they are deadly. She loves them. As soon as she gets a swing, you know this one is coming, and you see how perfectly she can put them. And when you have Irene Scazzieri as a receiver, obviously you don't hesitate a second and shoot for the goal.
Yeah, having a little look at some of the turns from that point. There's Funn sail going for the layout that bounces in and out of her hand. And this was what you mentioned, how brutal the around backhand from Sorrenti can be. And Irina Scazzieri, there were some doubts about whether she'd be over for EUC because she's, of course, playing with San Francisco Fury in the women's division this year out in the States. But what an addition she is to any roster.
Definitely a player you want to have on your roster. I mean, very dangerous cutter, but also in defense. She's got pace and fire within her. Scary to play against.
Yeah, 26 years old and been playing half her life, starting at just 13.
Again, a zone from Italy.
Yorworth bouncing it back and forth with Hyde. Around towards the far sideline, brought down by Van Krieken. Great Britain, slightly different look to the O-line this point, with Van Krieken and Kwok out there. And Kwok there chases down. Hyde looking for some throw and go with Naden. Naden surveys downfield. Great Britain seeming unfazed so far, but have never quite pulled the ripcord and really picked up the pace, but now it might come in the red zone. Hyde shooting and knocked down at the last minute by Elena Perini.
I thought that one was going to be a score. I saw that, like, okay, this is scored for sure, but no, Perini had other plans. Just knocked it down at the last second, just before reaching the hands of the receiver. Now they have to go back all the field against the wind. If they want to have a chance for a break, though, that would be really good position.
On the sideline, air underneath it. Yorworth was ready and waiting. Hyde quickly as there's a foul away from the disc.
I like how all players are aware and ready for any passes. You know that with this that with this kind of wind, excuse my English, the disc will float a lot. Like, most likely to float, you gotta be ready all the time.
There will be tips, there will be overthrows. As you mentioned, Charlotte, you have to stay alert. Yorworth. Kwok. Naden's wide open. I'm not quite sure how it didn't go, but the poach just sat in there long enough.
The mark adjusted.
And that eventually was the result, with players drawn towards that near side. They get the around swing, and Naden eventually is the target. Still on serve early in the game. It's 2 each.
Very well adapted by the Italian defense. Seeing the upline completely free, Naden was having that one so clearly, but the mark adjusted, went flat for a second just to avoid that easy pass in the open side, and went back to their original force. But GB adjusted as well, just went for the swing. Naden went the whole way on the other side of the end zone to get that swing around pass for a hold for GB. 2-0.
In the other semi-final, Germany building up an early advantage on the Czech Republic. 4-1 the score on our other streaming field, if you fancy a little bit of split screen action. So just get those both up, maybe just keep the other stream on mute and focus your attention on us.
We got the pool in our tent.
An unexpected guest, the Eurodisc rolling into our tent. I do not trust our camera crew to squeeze it in there. Good shot of the Eurodisc, the official disc provider of the European Ultimate Federation, and proud presenters of our Limerick Late Night Live daily recap show, which has been a ton of fun all week. Bolognese. That, look, I know that a lot of times you see travels called and they're a bit dubious. That might be the most obvious travel I think I've seen by all week by a long, long way.
She traveled to another pitch.
As that one down the line, squeezed in, and the game has its first clean hold, trying to get a spy of the goal scorer on the far side. I think it's Giada Bolognese.
Our traveler went all the way to the end zone for the score. Nice layout to reach for that score. Easy hold for Italy. That went pretty fast. I think that's the fastest score we've had so far.
By
the
a
first
long
one's
way.
A bit,
yeah.
Trying to figure out their game, warm up. I mean, the wind and the rain as well.
Well, I think it's partly that GB changing the defensive system and shape, going more for match coverage, and Italy seemed very proficient at working against it.
Maybe zone is still a better option to try to, I mean, in any case, it will slow down the offense at least.
Yep.
If not block it, slow it down and wait for maybe a mistake. As we've seen already, Italy had few throwing mistakes, overthrown. So maybe this kind of pressure can just continue to work out.
I'm 100% with you there, Charlotte. I mean, as impressive as they were in that win over France yesterday, Great Britain, their O-line only had one clean hold all game. So again, if you just slow things down with the zone, force as many passes as possible, especially in these conditions, those mistakes will come. You play the percentages a little bit, and GB can look to employ a similar strategy on defense if and when they get back out there.
Only 2-2, and we already have 54 total passes on the British side for a bit less on each end side. That's a lot of pass for only 4 scores.
Yeah, and that really does show the how the zones have kind of affected the way these teams are playing. Arcing all the way around. Naden has time and space to set herself. Kwok looking, zings the blade to Thompson. Creative option, I like it. Transition comes to match, it's a little bit behind Yorworth. She chops her feet to adjust. High release, leading Kwok to space. Cut from Hunter comes a bit early. There's 2 players there. Surely there's a pick.
Yes, that was, as you always say, suspiciously open. 2 players solely open. I mean, even Kwok seemed a bit confused, waiting before throwing that one.
So back in play. GB trying to get their offense reset, in rhythm, in motion. Oh, and it's off the hands. And GB just cannot seem to punch in cleanly.
I thought Kwok was here and will have it. The backup.
Another break chance for the Italians. This time they want to end it quickly. Naden never quite gets sights of it. Irina Scazzieri playing some defense now. Catching that huck and then shooting to the end zone.
Unfortunately, again, overthrown. Gazzarini putting a bit too much of a pool vibe in her backhands when on the field. However, that hug from Pancotti was gorgeous. I mean, she threw that against the wind, perfectly put for Scazzieri. However, GB is back with the disc for Whitehead.
I mean, a lot of the O-line stars are out there at the moment for the Italians. You mentioned Pancotti. We talked about Scazzieri. Bengi's out there as well. Big blade around to Kwok.
Where thought that was going?
Snuck through to Thompson. It's Great Britain continue to try and fox out the Italian zone. Naden goes with the high release over the top. The wind isn't as strong as it has been at points this week, so those elevator style throws maybe not as risky as they otherwise might be. The GB spacing looking very static. Again, the high release over the top from Naden. I'd like a bit more dynamism about things from Great Britain. Yes, the zone is designed to shut you down, Charlotte, but it feels like GB are playing into their hands.
It feels like they're throwing a lot. They're not gaining yards, meters. They're just going backward more and more. Kwok came down to help the handlers, but even this is just not enough. They will need to find another option. They have the wind with them as well. Maybe looking a deeper shot.
That might finally crack things open. The leading backhand down the line. Naden wanting it again to Hunter. Hunter slides, keeps it up. Just shows everyone to let them know. Dalman charges through into the backfield. Now down the line looking for Yorworth. Stepped in bounds. GB looking to put some of their earlier red zone struggles behind them. Hunter comes off the front. Now once the continuation, here's Kwok. Another pick. the spacing for GB is slowing things down, and it's forcing them to have to hold the disc for long. They're not able to punch these in quickly and effectively and get the O-line off the field.
I mean, GB has been doing amazing. They waited so long before finding that right opportunity to move forward, and now...
And there's the one floated over the top and over and out of reach of Yorworth.
As soon as I'm saying it, and there's the turn, just overthrown, a bit too much of an angle on this outside sidearm shot. Really hard to read and even harder to get a hand on it. And Italy again back with a break opportunity.
I mean, GB have been far too profligate with the disc. They're giving Italy way too many opportunities. How long before one of them is punished? With a lot of offensive stars out there for the Italians, this might be it. Pancotti to Casatrini. Now Rabaglia.
I mean, these are all line players we see on the Italian D-line, actually.
There's the one over the top. It overshoots Marrero. Italy give it back. This game being played at, it feels like a chess match at the moment, Charlotte.
Chess match?
Yeah, in the sense that it's about, the teams are trying to think 2 moves ahead, and they're not exactly rushing things. They're taking their time with their options.
I'm not totally sure that I was waiting. All mistakes were because of rushing at the last moment, you know?
Call from the sideline comes. Forget about scoring. Just take what's open. Back to Yorworth. Fakes the continuation around to Brew. Doesn't like Dowman. Will take Hunter, and you can see that came wrong out of the hands of Yorworth, who seems frustrated.
I mean, I agree with you. It's like a chess game where they are taking time, waiting, slow, but it's always that last pass near the end zone that is rushed, that is not the right option. And big defense as I'm talking. Hunter just runs through and get that block disc back for GB, much closer to the end zone this time. Maybe they will take a timeout or wait.
Yeah, I think the fact that they can have a slower pickup off the turn means they don't want to use the timeout, but players do look a little bit tired and jaded out there. It's been a long week already, and this point, as a lot of the GBO points have, is continuing to grind out there. Kwok comes underneath and throws right into the poach. I've no idea what Kwok was looking at there.
At this stage, it looks like they're just mistaking the color of their jerseys.
Rabaglia wanting to go underneath. Hunter again defensively gets it back. And a big puff out of air from the lungs afterwards.
Hunter always there with the right timing, right positioning. She knows when to speed up, to leave this option open for the offense, but just step in at the right moment to get the block.
Again, down the line. GB have been so wasteful in the red zone. Finally, they punch it in to Karen Kwok. But my word, GB are making it hard for themselves out there. Half an hour gone in the game, and it's just 3-3.
What a point. That was 4 turns on each side. We have, like, the first possession, GB had only 11 passes, but the second one, 27. I won't do the math, but this point took a lot of passes. On the other side, Italy needed less passes, but lost the disc. We see a lot of frustrations on the players' faces. I mean, these were really close break opportunities missed. That is something really frustrating for a semi-final, because those breaks are really important, precious. You don't want to lose them. So far, still trading 3-3.
I mean, just think about, you know, for Italy, I was going to say that their O-line punched it in cleanly so they could get on the field and get them rested, but actually a lot of them were still out there on that point. So they haven't even necessarily had that break that maybe punching it in cleanly the previous point would have provided them. Three all here.
3-0 here, while on the other side, Germany is still leading 7-3 over Czech Republic on the other stream on ulti.TV.
So it looks like Germany punching their ticket to finals day tomorrow. Arcangeli underneath to Bengi. That one in and out of the hands of Strusha.
Slippery disc with the rain.
Maddie Long to Sarah Jeffrey. And now continuation. Kate Gibson looks to bang it for wedge. Bengi has position and calmly catches. Italy's offense gets back to work. And a miscommunication throws it straight to Lena Denniston, who picks up quickly from the floor. GB with a great opportunity for the game's first break. Just pushed backwards to Jeffrey. Jeffrey to wedge, a few yards out. Faking once, twice. Jeffrey plants into the backfield, trying to get it off the line. Scapsieri just sits in that lane. Now Hills, showing the around. Going instead to Kate Gibson. Pick in the center. How often have we seen this from GB's offense in the red zone?
Lots of picks. The stack is pretty narrow, short as well, so a lot of bodies. It's hard to do a cut avoiding any picks.
Gibson goes short to Maddie Long. Can she punt it back to Gibson? She can! Great Britain take advantage of the opportunity that Italy presented them, and the game's first break goes Great Britain's way. They lead 4-3.
Oh wow, after being so close to getting the break, Italian were so close, it is actually GB who gets the first break on the semi-finals of the women division, taking the lead for the first time in this semi, 4-3 for GB. Really good position for them, knowing they are going to start on offense the second half if they keep this advantage. It is a good path for GB.
They gave Italy enough chances on the previous point, and it's not like Italy didn't have the firepower out there to work it against the wind, because they got a couple of good red zone opportunities with some of their key offensive pieces out there. They couldn't get it done, and maybe putting a bit of extra wear and tear in the legs backfired, because GB generated a couple of short field opportunities and utilized the second of those to get the game's first break on the board.
Wait, there was a timeout called and both lines are actually already ready?
Maybe there wasn't a time, maybe a phantom timeout.
Huh.
Everyone seems ready to go anyway. So having got the break against the wind, even though the wind is not as strong as it has been, can GB manage the subsequent downwind break? The ball watched all the way into the bread basket by Arcangeli. Great Britain again coming out with zone. Down the sideline, well judged, well weighted. Baroni chases. Now Baroni goes to release, and what a shot. So often Gaia Pancotti is the distributor in chief. This time she's the goal scorer.
She is on every side, all positions. She'll do it, get the disc, throw the disc, whatever the team needs, she'll do it. Not for nothing, she's one of the captains. And a clean hold for Italy. I think they do need that after those long points and that previous break. You need to retrieve this confidence and go for a clean hold. Only 6 passes needed for Italy to get that score. Baroni to Pancotti. Look at this beautiful shot.
So Charlotte, obviously you've played with a lot of these players with CUSB, now BFD Shout, so you'll kind of have a bit of an insight into kind of what makes them tick mentally.
Makes them tick?
Yeah, it's like how how their brains wired, how they think.
They think fast. They think really fast. That is impressive. And you can see it in their counter-attack, in their offensive plays. Everything is going fast. And actually, national Italian team women, I found, have the same way of playing as Shouts, which makes sense since a lot of Shouts are present on this team. And they have this way of playing that you want to give the pass to anyone that is open. Whoever is open, just give the pass. You don't wait. You want the disc to flow. Either it is 1 centimeter win or just sideways or even backward a little bit. Just throw the disc and get this motion going. Don't stop. And it is very efficient, as you can see in their offensive style.
Something I've always found is that if players look off open passes early in stall counts because they're not very big or they're a bit negative perhaps, generally it almost always results in throwing a much less open pass a lot later in the stall count. Now a stall count rising, and Naden thinks she got it off in time. Francesca Ranelli disagrees.
Okay, apparently it is retracted. Oh, so that's in your own hands, and that is not what you want. Very dangerous situation for GB.
Yorworth. Going back to Van Krieken. Now GB trying to punch it through. Get a bit more movement going, but they're never quite able to pull away. Van Krieken just trying to drag the defenders from that front line away to help create space for the swing. Not convinced about the spacing here for Great Britain. Because it does feel like they're never really able to get more than 1-2 passes out quickly before things slow down again. It looks like a violation on the mark.
That would be the first one for Italy. Yesterday during the Swiss quarterfinal, they had a lot of calls on their marking. Apparently a lot of violations. We don't know if it was contact, straddle, fast count or whatever, but there have been a lot of calls on their marks.
Yeah, the spirit scores for the game, for each game, are made public, and the comments are as well. And yeah, Switzerland were not the first team to note about the Italian marks.
Oh!
There's the block for Italy, going to give them the short field and a chance to earn the break back. Rabaglia. Great Britain trying to stiffen here, but they open up the blade to the back, and Susanna Casarini puts Italy back on top. They break back at the earliest possible opportunity, 5-4.
I could almost feel the stress of Rabaglia with that disc for the break. Just one step away from the end zone, looking for an option, no option anywhere to be seen. What do? You cannot lose that disc at this moment. What a stressful situation. But she did get 2 receivers free. What beautiful shot from Rabaglia. The outside just above the defense. Look at this one, looking for option, no one to be seen. And finds Pancotti and Casarini asking for the same option. She delivers it, and that is a break. And first break for Italy, retrieving that advantage of theirs since they're starting on offense, but nothing is done.
I mean, look at where Pancotti picked that up, forward of the attacking brick mark. GB had made 28 passes by that point and gone absolutely nowhere.
They didn't advance much. They got stuck in their end zone, near their end zone for so long. That was a big pressure from the defense, and it's really hard to get out against the wind. We see still the flags flying pretty well, the Eurodisc flags dancing in the wind.
So the ball bounces and GB seem in no rush to get things going, and the Italian zone sets on once more. Avril Hunter's been so key in getting the disc back for GB's O-line when they've turned. Hopefully, from a Great British perspective, she won't have to. Hunter to Naden. Looking to try and find an option through, but it's not there. Hyde, now on the far sideline, bounces back into Hunter's hands. Finding the option through to Dowman. Kwok pumps it through. Goes around for Hayley Dowman to chase, and it's too far. The edge just took it away from her. Pancotti picks up right in front of the camera. At midfield, Sorrenti to Bengi, slashing in front. Bengi continues, trying to find Sorrenti, but Yorworth earns the disc.
That was a really tight window to aim at.
GB generally have been very good at earning their discs back, but they're having to do it far too often. Now they can finally get some movement going. Yorworth to Hunter. 1-2 trying to run the fast break, and there was enough of a hand in there from Beatrice Cesana. Bengi zips it to Pancotti, who opens up the backhand, going downwind into the back of the end zone and too far for Casarini.
Great beat attempt by Casarini, but that was just out of bounds. Couldn't reach that one. That would have been a super cool way to break, though. GB is back with the disc in the hands, again facing that zone defense, who they've been working pretty well against for this point, but just that, again, that one pass error, that's not necessary, I'd say. They have so many open options.
In the other semi-final, Germany, excuse me. I recognise what flags look like. They're not even the same way. It's been a long week. Germany looking very good against the Czech Republic right now. Score update for you there is 9-5 to the favourites, Germany. Nice one over the top, but it bounces away from Hannah Thompson. And Italy, as you mentioned, they love to get things going quickly. Bengi guns it through to Pancotti. Pancotti looking down the line. Block comes in from behind from Kwok.
Again, that corner, they always try to get that narrow window in this sideline corner, but just gets blocked all the time by GB.
Yorworth and Kwok as GB again try and find ways to crack the zone that has really been asphyxiating and sucking the life out of Great Britain's offense. Blading around to Thompson. Now Hunter and Dowman bounce it between one another. A bit more energy about the offense. The blade goes up. Bengi sees it late And they fit that one in there to Thompson. That was a much better possession from Great Britain, because when they were able to move the disc and get things on a roll, get behind that Italian front line, they didn't stop. They continued to push the pace, and Italy were out of position.
Hunter really stepped up on that last possession, touching every second disc, getting that moving, not letting the cup set up and block their flow. Great job. She found also the right final option that I was afraid I would be too rushed like the previous ones, but no, I underestimated Hunter. Sorry about that. She definitely found the right one, got that shot to get a hold for GB after 3 turnovers, a lot of passes, but they got the job done. And here they're calling the timeout to prepare maybe their breaks planning.
Yeah, both sides, I think, certainly with a lot to work out here, using the opportunity to take a more extended stoppage. Italy, Great Britain here in women's semi-final action. On serve at the moment, 5 apiece, both sides with 1 break.
Breaks on both sides. I like that when both teams show that they can do breaks, so you know that you never know what can happen. That this is a possibility, that both are putting the pressure and that they have the material. I mean, obviously they do. They are in semi-finals of the European Championship this year, so it is logic they do have the breaks material. However, 1 on each side. That doesn't change much to the trading score of 5-5.
Going with the rolling pull. Bolognese fields from the floor. Arcangeli goes to Sorrenti on the far side. Past the bidding defender, Fansile picks herself up. Scazzieri to Arcangeli. Through the inside channel, Scazzieri. He's going to put air underneath it, too much air, no, Arcangeli reels in. Behind. Bolognese couldn't bring it in. By the way, that whistle, it's the half-time cap, so we'll have half at 7 in this game. And that one just pops over Fansile. Sorrenti. Into Scazzieri, back to Sorrenti. Kate Gibson tried to get a hand in there, but couldn't. And Sorrenti with a big backhand all the way out of the side.
Too far. That was a risky throw to do on this, to go from one side to the other of the pitch, especially giving that wind.
So Great Britain looking for another break. They've managed one so far, but that was with picking up the disc in the red zone. The Italian zone looks to slow them down, but GB's D-line seems to be dealing with it magnificently. Dishing off to Wedge. Wedge taking the shot to Oldfield at the back of the end zone. That's how you break it down. That's the break. Great Britain back on top at 6-5. Oldfield collecting the score.
Second break. Here it is, GB again with the advantage. Oldfield's really happy for that one. She can be breaking that offense from Italy. They've been doing some mistakes again. Not very precise on their throws today. Benji, what do you think about the overshots from the Italians?
I don't hate the option because there was a wide open space there, but it's a difficult shot to take, and given that both sides have had those offensive miscues, maybe now it's not necessarily the game to be bringing those out.
Totally agreed. I think you need to adapt to the conditions, to the play. I mean, in semis against GB, there are some shots you might not necessarily take. You have other options. There are other options. I mean, we're used to see Italy play more of that quick give and go passes. Why not stick to that and continue winning meters and getting close to your end zone without risking those huge swings or that are not necessary. (11-6) on the other pitch for Germany, getting very close to the final score of 15. Well, here the halftime will be at 7 due to longer points.
Yeah, Germany racing towards the gold medal game tomorrow, but it's a much slower pace here. GB sideline tries to get loud as they come down with match defense this time, like their matchups. Will it work out for them? Bengi. Breaking around for Scazzieri, she slides, but cannot snag. Great Britain will look to break us into half. No guesses what the Italian plan's gonna be. It's back to the zone.
Obviously, that zone they've been putting on. I really like that the O-line puts up a zone whenever there's a turn.
But they hint it at the start and then go away into match. And the disc weasels its way through Rachel Naden's clutches. A layout there from Sorrenti. Tried to flash in, did Payne. It opened up the space for the Italians to work it into the end zone. There's going to be a suggestion that maybe not.
I think Pancotti dragged her foot to stay in bounds. Oh, is it an injury?
We'll have another look at it. There was the bit that kind of left out of position. If the catch is clean, which it seems to be clean enough, I think that's a pretty clear goal, and the goal is indeed signal. I think maybe just a little bit of attention being applied to Rachel Naden on the landing. So it's 6 apiece, and a slightly anticlimactic goal because all the air just seemed to leave the field of play. We have got a Galaxy point here, Charlotte.
We do. I love that semifinals Galaxy point, amazing. I just want to do a shout out again to that deadly outside from Sorrenti again for the goal. Amazing in the corner, just in bounds for Pancotti. Galaxy point, that is exciting. And you never know, it's not as if they were trading points just with clean holes. We have a lot of turnovers, some breaks as well already happening, so it can happen again during this Galaxy point. You don't know who will score that one, that final one for the halftime.
So 6-all. And Great Britain, of course, will be receiving to begin the second half. So they get a chance for the back-to-back possessions here. The old buy one, get one free, the twofer. But it is worth bearing in mind that GB's O-line has not had a clean hold all game, and they had just the one in their quarter-final against France as well. The Italians, again, trusting the zone defense to continue to get the turns as it has so far. And once again, the zone defense works wonders. Bengi won its back and then gave it away. I don't know why she went trailing edge there.
That was very nonchalant way to lose the disc.
And the trailing edge, it's always, the spin is always taking it away from you there. She had more time than maybe she realized. Very strange.
I really think that players are getting tired. We see unexpected things from both sides, and
I think both sides might appreciate the mental reset that halftime will give them. It floats, but Yorworth gets there first, and the defender was suckered and reeled in Marrero, and it frees up the hold to Van Krieken in behind. Great Britain up one break, going into half with the score at 7-6. Your summary of the first half there, Charlotte.
long points, a lot of long points, a lot of turns with many passes because both teams are playing zone defense, so it takes a while for both teams to set up and reach their end zone. Many unexpected mistakes from the Italian side, I'd say, on the throws, but also great actions. We have another look at this final score of GB to take the half. Very tight game. It is a very tight game, 7-6, folks. This is not over. GB has one more break on their own, 2 versus 1 for Italy.
Yeah, Great Britain very much in the ascendancy at the moment. They're up one break and they'll be receiving to begin the second half when we rejoin you for the women's semi-final here at EUC. (7-6) Great Britain leading here at half-time in this women's semi-final, live from Limerick here for the European Ultimate Championships 2023.
We only have 40 minutes left, and we are barely starting the second half. It's to say how these conditions are impacting the games of both teams. Both of them using zone defense to slow down the game. Well, it does work. Only 13 points in more than 60 minutes. 60 minutes, indeed.
Yeah, there you are.
Have a look. Number of turns.
20 for Italy, 19 for Great Britain. Great Britain without a clean hold yet, and they've generated fewer break chances, but they are 2 for 8. Italy just 1 for 13. I see what people were saying about the Italy flag looking a bit like the Irish flag, because that is quite an orange shade of red. I think it is red, but it's quite a light red. If you're out there and you're kind of in that huddle, you're playing in a game that, and we've all played in games like this where, you know, it's a bit of a grind. Neither team's really firing on all cylinders. How do you find that mental strength and energy, Charlotte, to really try and access your best ultimate?
It's really hard, actually. In that kind of conditions, you need to be really strong mentally and have a strong, bounded team. I was talking about this earlier in the championship with, I think it was Anna Minard, who explained me the mentality with which the team is approaching this championship, is that you know you will have bad weather conditions, and you know that your ultimate won't be the same as when you're playing with sunny, no wind and all. And so the point, her point was that the coaches told to just play, like, be happy the way it's going and just keep fighting whatever the game is, because you know you won't play as well as you usually do, but that is normal. And that is the main point, is that it is normal. Every team will play less good ultimate as they usually do, and you should not be frustrated about this. It is normal. It happens to both teams at the same time, and you just should continue going with that and not get impacted negatively in your mentality, your focus in this game. So I guess that is exactly what these two teams are trying to think about. Don't overthink your mistakes. There are mistakes on both sides, but just rather keep pushing, keep going, and fighting.
Yeah, often it's not the execution errors, the physical kind of mechanical mistakes that the weather causes. It's the mental mistakes, the lapses in concentration, the drops of focus, just the kind of sagging of the mentality that can be difficult to try and notice and correct.
I mean, especially after 6 days of playing these semifinals, it is highest level in Europe.
I mean, it's understandably, it's been a long week and it will wear you down, and so often it can feel a bit attritional. How much do you have left in the tank at this late stage of the week? Hyde goes around to Dowman. Back to Hyde, but there's no support, no continuation around. If you look at the average time between each pass for Great Britain, it feels like they're continually getting into high stalls. Travel called. Zyorworth resets to feet. Gives and gets. Great Britain just need to keep patient, need to stay focused. The wind has dropped and there's no rain at the moment either. Punched through and behind Zyorworth and in front of Hunter. Italy looking to break, but there will still be a breakdown, even if they punch it in. Rabaglia. Centres, where Casarini looks to continue all the way around. Bengi rises and brings down. Zips it through. Scazzieri shooting towards the end zone, towards the sideline. Cesana! The Italians break, a great way for them to begin the second half. 7 apiece. Now they need another to get back on top.
What a way to start this second half indeed, Benji. A break for Italy, the second one on their scoreboard. It is 2 breaks on each side now for both teams. As we're saying, mentality, the focus, you have to stay strong mentally in these kind of conditions, in these kind of games, and this is a really good way to be back mentally, score a break to start the second half. That is a good momentum Italy should use. On the other pitch, we're getting even closer to the end of these semis. Germany 13, Czech Republic 8.
Germany all but secured in the final tomorrow. Although, of course, until that last point goes in, it is still up for debate, as some of these Italian players will know, of course, they were 14-11 down to Germany in the quarterfinal out in Djur 4 years ago. And we all know what happened there. You've got to guard against complacency. Italy ready to pull. Casarini. I wonder as well, having that shorter roster, is there a bit more wear and tear in the legs from this game and this tournament for the Italians? Yorworth. To Hyde going around, Kwok adjusts, and the layout can only pop it into Bengi's hands. Italy can get back on top if they can punch this in. Low, just past Naden. Rabalia has plenty of time to shoot her shot. It's still just outside the end zone. Pancotti in for the score. Italy have another break. And 2 straight clean breaks out of half. Italy take an 8-7 lead. That half-time came at the perfect time for them.
What a momentum in that start of second half. What a grab from Marrero, sliding between the feet of her defender and just grabbing that one so close to the ground. What a catch. Great job from Italy, retrieving that advantage, 8-7. What a momentum indeed. What a cool action. I really like that layout, but tipped and Bengi not even waiting for the disc to touch the ground, that she grabs it and attacks immediately, no time to lose.
That is a really tough catch, stuck there in the end zone by Marrero.
Fearless Marrero, diving in the legs.
Yeah, one Paga in the mixed division this year, Marrero, so has experience of claiming gold this season, albeit on a different surface. Pagnello, of course, the legendary beach tournament held every year over Easter weekend in Rimini. Denniston fakes downfield, takes it at the second time of asking. Jeffrey, D-line now coming out there, and Jeffrey shooting all the way towards the far sideline, looking for Klima.
Oh.
What a shot that is. I mean, that's a ludicrous throw from Sarah Jeffrey, and I love it.
I love how she was about to attack the disc knowing the defense is arriving, but once defense missed their shots, she just casually took one step behind to make sure to be in the end zone for the score instead of attacking the disc, since danger was gone. And here is the score for the O-line of GB, finally scoring that hold on the second half. That's well needed to get back on track on the second half, and don't let Italy use that momentum of theirs, but rather put them back on earth, saying like, hey, we're also here, we're also scoring, don't think you're going anywhere. Still fighting, GB.
Their first clean hold of the game, but perhaps a little bit ominously for GB, they had to get their D-line on the field to do it.
But that was a D-line.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's... Maybe also D-line, gets in some teams less playing time, since usually teams have one O-line and then maybe 2 D-line rotating. And so you have fresher legs, fresher minds, and this will of playing, like they need their play time as well.
I also think a lot of the time, this Bolognese, again, goes for a little bit of a walk with the disc in her hands. A lot of the time the D-line players have that slightly different mentality. They shoot the disc a little bit more, and given how offensively Great Britain have often been quite bogged down, maybe the changing style works as Bolognese cannot collect that little pop through. Wedge quickly picks up and dishes to Payne. Back in Wedge's hands. We know she likes to shoot. Oldfield's the favourite target, and it's Oldfield again. A clean break for Great Britain. The pendulum of this game continues to swing back and forth, Charlotta, as GB back on top 9-8.
now we have a game, Benji. Oldfield again with this big run in the end zone. As you say, good target. That Oldfield getting another goal on her stats. What a change of momentum. GB definitely back on track. As I was saying, they get their advantage back. I love that trading of breaks. It's not trading scores now, it's trading breaks time. And I really enjoy what is happening in front of us. 9-8 for GB now. Getting exciting. Well, on the other field, I see Germans dancing. I think that this is okay.
Yeah, that is the second goal of the game for Nat Oldfield. Both of them breaks that have put GB's D-line into scores, as Germany have sealed the game, so they await the winner of this in the final tomorrow. Well, the loser will have to pay Czech Republic for the bronze medal this afternoon. That game taking place at 5 o'clock here in Limerick. So neither side has been able to string multiple breaks together. Will we see it now? Klima sags into the lane. And that is ripped. Wedge looks in a good position as the throw hangs, and Wedge gets the tip, but it's still in the hands of Pancotti. Pancotti shoots and scores. Irina Scazzieri, 9 apiece. And the deep shot was spicy indeed, but it fell right into Pancotti's hands, and she was in no mood to hang about afterwards.
What a sequence of air fights. Amazing. That energy on the field is really increasing. We're really getting that semi-final vibe right now. We missed it a little bit in the first half. The second half is definitely delivering it. What a fight. Clean hold, 3 passes clean hold for Italy. What air fights. Look at this replay of both catches. First one, Pancotti getting a second attempt on this. Scazzieri seeing her teammate with the disc in the hands, sprinting straight away in the end zone for the Italian score as a timeout is called.
Yeah, good opportunity for sides to get the mental reset with this game so finely poised. The sides both tied at 9s.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Nine apiece, and you might be able to see that on the camera as I come across all Annie Lennox for a second. Here comes the rain again.
Here comes the rain.
And it does look like it's one of the GBD lines back out there. So definitely crossing a lot of players over with their O-line struggling, but a good pull from the Italians has made GB start from in their own end zone, and they are still firmly bogged down in the mire there. Caudron wanted to take the over-the-top shot, looking for Denniston. It's picked off by Pancotti and punched in on the first pass. The pressure tells, and Irina Scazzieri again 10-9, now Italy back on top. This game will not, it refuses to settle down.
One pass break. Oh my God. Pancotti was ready for that one. That was a really dangerous position for GB. Stuck in their end zone, against the wind, against a zone defense. And I'm still wondering about this choice. I mean, Denniston was definitely calling that huge poach on her, completely left alone. And I guess it's a better option to go for that deep shot and trying to aim as far as possible to get out of the end zone. Huckendee option, but going for the scuba, I don't quite understand. Against the wind scuba, you won't reach the distance you need.
I was thinking maybe kind of one of those backhands that you could sit over the top there potentially, but I see why Cautrin threw it, because she was penned in her own corner, and GB kind of didn't really have anywhere to go.
Just huck it as far as possible then.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that. But maybe if you see with those defenders in front of you in that wall, maybe you're not sure you can get it around them and get it to come back in the pitch. Kwok stops the roll. I'd probably like to see them pick that up, in all honesty, and get things moving as GB's more usual O-line goes out there, though they have kept wedge on offense. Yorworth. Short to Hunter. Again, Yorworth saying we need better connectivity here. Hyde. Going around to Thompson. Now down the line to Yorworth. There's a little bit more savvy, I think, about this GB possession. They're spacing things better. They're stretching it and spreading it around the back. Bengi's out of position and they take advantage by popping it over her to Hunter. Back to Yorworth. He's got Hyde on the far side, and that's where they go. Hyde down the line, just sold Yorworth short. It was there, but not with that execution.
Yeah, not the execution expected, I guess. I mean, Yorworth had to readjust her run, but just not on time for that falling pass.
And I think Brew flashing in there maybe did just enough to have Susanna drop it. But Kwok can only drop it right back. Too much heat on it. Trying to squeeze it in front of the defender. Italy again trying to string 3 points in a row together for the first time for either side this game. Susanna leads Rabalia into space. Thought that might have been the time for the deep shot. There's a stoppage, a travel, back on the throw from Susanna.
Everyone just kept playing, leaving Yorworth completely alone with her travel call. But everyone noticed and back, slowing down that pace, that intensity. Everything's pretty stressful now. Violation call as well.
That one is going to float again, and Pancotti waited a little bit long. And a foul quickly accepted there by Brew. Scazzieri just motions, gets some more going downfield. Ooh, Hyde flashes in, gets a little bit late, leading to Ravalia, who's in bounds. Back to Pancotti. Casarini, just outside the red zone now. Bengi in the center, spraying it all the way across towards the far sideline. Pancotti, as there seems to be a stoppage, potentially a pick. Haven't seen a hand signal.
Something happening. Something.
There was definitely something.
It's just, I like how there's much more noise on the sideline. Everyone's really cheering. Like, you feel the intensity growing. We're getting closer to the end of the semis.
Yeah, the energy has picked up after it was kind of fizzling for both sides at the end of the first half. Trying to get the lead throw through to Bengi. Enough to sit on it for her to chase down. Centers, oh, it's congested, and it comes right off the chest there of the usually so reliable Marrero. Hunter and Yorworth trying to move before Italy can get set defensively. Now Yorworth opening it up. Oh, Thompson is so open. The throw has to go, and does go, and is delivered, and we are tied at 10 apiece.
You see the confusion on the Italian defensive faces, not understanding the directives from the sideline, and GB won't mind that, just use every opportunity. They seize it, they know what it takes, how to react to any situation. Thompson completely free, great job cutting, getting that shot for the hold for GB after 2 turns. They do manage to keep that offensive point on their side. Thompson receiving your worst pass for the GB score.
I think I've probably got enough pronunciations wrong over the years that I'm sure people can probably forgive English names being mispronounced. But I think you're fine. (10-10), about 17 minutes until that cap comes on. Looks like more match defense to try and slow down Italy. Sorrenti has other ideas, banging it for Scazzieri. Oh, that is a magnificent D from Amy Fansale.
What a defense! Look at this one, running and jumping at the same time. That is hard to do. Really clean. Oh my.
There is a little bit of contact after the fact, but Arina Scazzieri seemed happy enough with it as Bolognese puts pressure on Denniston, but not enough. Now Oldfield on the sideline, going back and forth. The teams trading 2-point runs in the second half. Will we have another here? Gibson looking down the line for Denniston. Great Britain seems so much happier against the match defense until then. Just shot into too narrow a window, and Denniston puts her hands up in apology because Irina Scazzieri got her revenge.
Well, she did. Couldn't miss that opportunity. She wants her disc back. We're not happy with what happened earlier on the pitch. She's the one retrieving it this time. Put up the gas.
Surprised that Italy went with match, given how the zone seems to have just slowed them down. The backhand all the way over and back out of bounds. Gibson had a quick look up to see if the quick pickup was there, but he's going to leave it for Caudron. Slap of hands as they cross each other's path. Caudron gives the Euro disc a wipe. Fakes the backhand down the line. Now through and too far for Gibson. Bolognese. Looking for Bengi, who goes to ground, and she keeps it up. Dusts herself down. Scazzieri, the Italians, working right on that sideline. Back to Bengi now. In the red zone, Sorrenti fakes. Oldfield trying to make herself as big as possible on that mark. Arcangeli looking for options. She's got a good inside backhand when she needs it. And Scazzieri, not happy, calls the foul. Very demonstrative with how she feels that played out.
Body language really hard. I mean, that was very narrow window to throw at. So The British defense was staying there using the poach. I mean,
It all happens very quickly.
it did, and there definitely was contact, but it is obvious when you throw in such a narrow space with two defensive bodies already there, what can you do? Like, there will be contact.
I'm not sure she ever has control, if that's the call, but without actually having, you know, the audio of the discussions, it's difficult to tell exactly how it's playing out, but certainly there's always going to be a clash of bodies in there. Is either side responsible for that, initiating contact?
I mean, it's not important if she had control or not. It just changes the call from strip to
Yes,
foul.
that is correct.
But it's more about who run into whose direction, into whose space. And here, I don't know if you can really say that Scacchietti had the space, because number 21, Oldfield, was also pretty well placed, poaching Sorrenti, who was staying in this open lane. I mean, the throw was just not the right option.
The only difference really between the strip and the foul there would be how it would be resolved if it was accepted. But it was contested and sent back. Scacchieri lays out and punches in to Giulia Baroni. And Italy have snapped the streak of both sides, trading 2-point runs with the hold. And they're back on top at 11-10.
After a bit of talking, maybe not happy with the amount of contact. And I mean, it's logic with the energy increasing, as we were saying. The intensity of the game is really picking up, and this is the kind of action that might happen. We hope not too often. And timeout is called to calm down, maybe take a breath.
Again, both sides have kinks offensively and defensively that they would like to work out and fine-tune, and we'll see what adjustments they can make. Italy on top here in the second half. 11-10 is the current scoreline here at EUC.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it! 11-10, Italy up on GB here. Women's semi-final action from the European Ultimate Championships. Live all week, wild and free on ulti.TV at the University of Limerick. Italy going back to the zone, which has slowed down and frustrated Great Britain so often in this game. Yorworth, Hunter, Quat, all three of them in the backfield. Now out wide to Hyde. There would be the redirection back across to this near side. Downman comes through to help out. Back to Hunter. I still think this could be a bit more urgency, decisiveness about how Great Britain are tackling this. Floating that one towards the far side. Plenty of time for Thompson, all alone in space. Now Hyde, no continuation, so they've got to redirect the flow. Hunter through to Yorworth, now going to Thompson, got time, brings it down in bounds. Looking to shoot, wants Yorworth, Bengi tips it into Yorworth's hands, yes, no!
She could have caught it with her face.
But this just had, I mean, it could only have been one revolution or two too many from a GB perspective. Otherwise, you would say, she could well have caught it with her face. Bancotti just about manages to keep the feet down as the pick comes downfield. Hayley Dowman's on the mark. They're trying to work out when the pick happens so they can get the stalk out correct. And on stall 9, the disc is sent deep, and Kwok is there to collect the trash. I think that's good defense by Great Britain. Got onto the high stall, and the defenders were downfield, alert, and knew that the shot was likely to go up. Yorworth on the far side. There's the shot, looking for Brew. What a magnificent shot it was. 11 each.
Here's the British hold, getting that score on their side. After 22 and 11 passes possession, they managed to get out of this zone defense, get the score, and a tight game still, 11 each. And we are only 7 minutes away from the end of this game. That is probably going to end with a cap and not with a 15 score.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening at this point unless one side suddenly puts on the gas from this point. And this has been lacking, I think, almost entirely from GB's offense against the zone. That ability to stretch it deep and really test, you know, that last player back, utilize the longer throws over the top. And I think you see why you need it in an offense, because if you ever do get bogged down, all of a sudden you've got that option.
Getting dangerously close to the end of the time, which means not a lot of points to score, not a lot of chances to break. It is now, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone.
There are so few more chances, so little margin for error, as you say, Charlotte. Down the line to Scazzieri. Scazzieri pops it up over Bolognesi, but Arcangeli backs up. And Arcangeli shooting for the end zone. It's going to have to be the adjustment towards the back of the end zone. And Stefanelli can only watch it sail beyond the back line.
Great opportunity for GB. So late in the late stages of this game, this is critical. But as we've seen, a lot of turns so far in this game, so it is very possible that anything can happen and anyone can score that point.
You do feel like it is going to be decided by just one piece of genius, one mistake. There's going to be one decisive action either way. I have no idea which way it's going to go. 5 minutes until the cap comes on. The pass is just a touch behind Klima. And Italy get it back. Bengi. Now looking down the line. Delivers to Giulia Baroni. 12-11.
Bengi Baroni for the 12th score point of Italy. Retrieving that, as we were saying, break opportunity, but you never know, many turns. And indeed, another turn that gave possession back to Italy for that score. We are into the 5 last minutes of the game.
The cap looming ominously in the distance in the short field. Italy cleared the space towards the far sideline well. And Bengi dutifully delivers, slotting it down that line to Baroni.
We've seen them play a lot with this sideline. A lot of passes, scores were over there. not trying to swing or anything, just continue up line, and squeeze the disc every time in this very narrow window. They make it work, so why not, I guess? But pretty special. It's not even the wind blowing in that direction. The wind is going more left to right of the pitch. I don't really know why they don't use more of these swings. Old style, classic swing to please your coach.
So the pull about to be delivered here from Casarini. It's going to sit and float. Hyde catches. GB just trying to smuggle some yards before the front line of that Italian defense sets down once more. GB just playing around their own brick mark at the moment. That scuba gives them a little bit more movement. Coman popping off to Thompson. Now Dowman in the centre. Brew just shows the overhead. That time really pumped it. Wants to just threaten that very clearly in the Italian defenders' minds. Hyde sees the little way through, back to Thompson. Stoops to catch it. Thompson shooting for Dowman. Dowman's got it. Both sides look to have got that offensive rhythm back. We're at 12s on a rope down the sideline from Thompson.
What a shot! Love that. That was gorgeous. Flow going. And a clean hold for GB. One of the rare clean holds we've had so far. 19 pass and made it work. We still are in 2 minutes into game time. So unless Italian offense goes super fast, flash style to their ends and for the score, I think that this will be a game 2-14.
I agree with you there, Charlotta. And only the second clean hold of the game for GB's offense, but the previous one had a lot of their D-line players out there. So that's almost the first time the GB O-line, as you normally see it constituted, has got it in cleanly. Strange game. Although, given that GB's O-line only had one clean hold in the game in the quarterfinal against France yesterday, maybe not that strange. A minute until the cap comes on.
Oh, we might have a universe point coming, and I will love that.
Wedge with the rolling pull out of this near sideline. Jeffrey goes to apply the mark. GB coming down in match. Bolognese centers to Sorrenti. The stall count getting high for Sorrenti, wanting to put a bit of air underneath it. Looking for Stefanelli, but it's over and to the floor. Baroni ready in position to apply the mark. Jeffrey will pick up. We've already seen some devilish throwing options from her. What will she have against the Italian O-line D? She's come out in the zone once more. Caution with the shot down the sideline.
Oh.
Wedge lays out and toes in bounds. And wants to just run, get going quickly, but everything gets set again. Wedge utilizing the flick over the top, beyond Funsail.
Not the safest option with the wind. And the time is over. We just heard the whistle. So after this point, it will be cut +1.
As Sorrenti again shooting deep towards the back of the end zone. Looking for Scazzieri. Fit it on a postage stamp. Was she in bounds? Oldfield signals the score. And the goal is good. 13-12 to Italy in a game 2-14.
We are entering to the end of the game. Only maximum 2 points to go. Italy 1 score away from qualifying for the finals, while GB needs to score their offense first and get a break if they want to head to the finals. We see on the replay in this, Scazzieri does grab the disc and land first with 1 foot inbounds, securing the goal for Italy. Amazing shot by Sorrenti. The two shouts, teammates working together, as we've seen from the beginning of this competition and this game. Non-surprisingly, looking for Scazzieri in the deep zone.
So the task for both sides is clear. For Italy, in an ideal world, you break here and you don't let it get to Universe. But for Great Britain, you've got to punch in the O here and then give everything you've got to get that break in sudden death.
Irene with big stats, 4 goals, 2 assists and 1 block in this game. She's been leading the Italian stats already with 32 goals and assists in total, and just giving herself more during this game.
I mean, Irina Scazzieri's already large reputation just grows ever stronger this week. Wedge back to Hyde. Denniston on the far side, you can see wearing a kind of compression sock on the far left calf to help her out as she throws it into the awaiting arms of the defender Casarini. Now Bengi. Can the Italians break to the win? Pancotti to Bengi. Cesana. Going low, kept up by Scazzieri. Just a few yards away from the gold medal match tomorrow, thrown right into the back of Avril Hunter.
Too rushed, she didn't see the defender. Hunter, who knows always where to put herself to block these passes.
Yorworth goes to Kwok on the far side. Kwok pumps the deep option. Yorworth now working with Caudron. Hyde just rolling it back to Denniston. Denniston downfield to Wedge. Wedge looking to dish it. Hunter a couple of yards out. Pops to Wedge. We've got it. It's Universe. It's what we all wanted as a neutral. And yes, I know that I'm British, but I'm a neutral in the booth. And the way the game has swung back and forth, it feels like this game deserved sudden death.
I mean, it started this way. It's logic that it ends this way. I love that both teams change their pace throughout the game, and we get to that Universe point now. They've been increasing, decreasing the energy, but at the end, both teams getting those breaks, those clean holds, or just low points. But we are here on the Universe point, 13-13. Game 2-14. How exciting. Who is going to make it to finals to face Germany?
That is the big question. Yeah, if you missed the news that victory for Germany out on the other field. Timeout seems to have been called by Great Britain on the field, although I'm not sure that anyone from Italy got the message. Sara Rabalia looks frustrated that kind of Italy, either the timeout wasn't communicated to them by Great Britain, or either way. The timeout has happened, it seems. Let's see who goes out there for both sides. Having a look at Italy's offense, I can see Stefanelli's out there, Bengi, Scazzieri, no surprise there, Pancotti, Arcangeli, Rabalia. Who have I missed on the far side? Presumably Sorrenti?
Bolognesi. On the far left side?
On the far right.
Oh, Sorrenti. So
yeah. For Great Britain, Hunter, Denniston, Funsale, Payne, Caudron, Wedge and Yorworth.
it is on.
Bolognese swings, oh, it's tipped. The layout came from Hunter, but still Sorrenti had stood firm into tight coverage. Stefanelli as Wedge and Cordron take each other out. Cordron's still on the floor and just sits up. I think she just maybe needs a second.
Oh yeah, she ran into her own teammates. Hopefully she's okay. Big impact. She seems okay. Bouncing, ready to give it all on the defense. Cordron.
Wedge checks in. Stefanelli goes back. Pancotti. Kick downfield. You can feel the tension here. It is so close for both sides. It's going to be joy for one and heartbreak for another. The deep shot looking for Scazzieri. Wedge was in position, and Chibi get the turn. What can they do with it? Italy, it looked like they want to go back into that zone. Generally, it's done a really good job of slowing down and frustrating the Brits.
Let's see if the zone will work again, this time for the Universe.
Cordron goes to Hunter, leading to Yorworth. Thought about stretching it to Wedge. Now over the top, time for Denniston to watch it all the way in. Fakes one way, goes back to Cordron. Just around the arm. Can't have been more than an inch or so away from Scazzieri's gloved hands. Hunter through to Denniston. Fun sail on the near side. To Hunter, a bit of a floater that she adjusts really well to collect. Yorworth, GB beyond midfield now. Denniston wants it over the top. But instead it's fired through by Cordron. Denniston to Fun Sail. Back to Denniston. Calls of easy from the sideline. And Denniston to Yorworth. Great Britain break on Universe. And are in the final tomorrow.
Oh my God! The break for the Universe point. What amazing job. That zone defense didn't give a hard time to GB, who was struggling against it the whole game. And just at the end, they destroyed it. GB on final, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that was the best their zone offense had looked all game. What a time to find that resolve and slowly, calmly and confidently march it up the pitch for the victory. There was the throw that gave it away, the disc overthrown, and GB just with that extra calmness at the end that was required. You can see there that players from both sides down on the ground. It will hurt for the Italians, who had it in their hands with a chance to close it out. And after a slow first half, the second half powered forward at a much crisper pace. Both sides tightened up offensively, and Great Britain just about got the job done. We are going to see if we are able to grab a post-game interview. We are going to be joined in the booth. We don't have a headset for you, but we do have a microphone. Alex Mazin. Maz, that was a game.
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it?
Obviously, as a coach on the sideline, how do you kind of manage the team in those kind of close, nail-biting universe point encounters?
I think for us the most important thing is to make sure that we just kind of trust our processes. Nothing changes for us. It doesn't matter what the game situation is. It doesn't matter who's on the field. We trust everyone on the pitch. We trust everyone on the sideline, and we just make sure that we keep everything as normal as possible for us. So we try to make that just a normal day at the office. It happened to work for us on the day, but essentially, we just put the processes in place. Sometimes they work. Most of the time they work. Sometimes they don't. The most important thing for us is that we trust in all the players and trust in our processes.
In the first half, it looked like you really struggled to break down the Italian zone defenses, but after the interval, things seemed to be clicking a lot more offensively. What were the adjustments you made at half-time?
I think the most important thing is we were getting into our own heads about it a bit. We were panicking about things that weren't necessarily there. We'd kind of created a bit of pressure. So halftime was about resetting for us, just evaluating what we saw in front of us, coming up with some simple adjustments about like when we attack and what our secondary pass is after we managed to break it down, and basically just trusting that everyone is capable of breaking it. It wasn't anything particularly novel. It was just a really, really, really good tight zone. So once we got like in front of that and made sure that we were happy that we could break it down, everyone relaxed a little bit, and I think that made the difference.
Obviously, I saw you talking out there to your leaders on that timeout before Universe Point. What was the message?
The message was, let's get this right, let's make sure we've got the right people to trust, and let's make sure we get our strats right so that we can go out there, get a block, and then win the game.
Did you have confidence that it would happen?
I have confidence every single time our players step foot on the pitch.
I like to hear it. So, tomorrow, a final, a tough game against Germany, who obviously you played once in the power pools, and Germany won that game convincingly in the end. What changes are you going to make from that game for the final?
Absolutely nothing. We're going to trust our processes completely, and we're going to go into that the same way we've approached every single other game.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back to the team, and we appreciate you coming to
Great.
join us.
Perfect. Thanks, Benji.
Thanks, Maz, for joining us. Coach Alex Mazin there of GB Women, who just about managed to squeak that out in the end in a game that swung back and forth. Here are the match stats for you, powered by Force. You see Italy generating more break chances, and Great Britain had fewer clean holds, only 2 all game, and only one of those from the first choice O-line. But Great Britain, they found a way to win. Both sides with the same number of breaks and turnovers, and Great Britain just carried that extra one out of the half, and that was decisive. And nerves of steel, ice in the veins, as they worked it down the pitch to win on Universe, punching it into the front of the end zone for a place in the gold medal game tomorrow. For Italy, they will have to pick themselves up as they take on the Czech Republic in the bronze medal match at 5 o'clock this afternoon, while for Great Britain, it is Germany who awaits them in the gold medal game tomorrow. Women's division action there. Semi-finals over and done with at EUC. We move into the open semi-finals now. On the other pitch is Germany up against Belgium. Over here, we have Great Britain taking on Italy once more. From all of us here at ulti.TV and for Charlotte Terrason alongside me, Benji Rees, we'll see you on the other side for open semi-final action.
Thank you. Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, ultimate.
ulti.TV.